All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. My name is Laura with the Plano Public Library, and I want to thank you all for joining us for today's program. Please note, your microphone and video have been turned off. If you have questions, you can type them into the chat. Una will be monitoring the chat to assist you with any issues and bring questions to my attention. We will also be sure to leave time for questions at the end. I do have a few housekeeping reminders that I would like to share. Please note this program is being recorded and will be made available on the Plano Public Library YouTube page for later viewing. Soliciting business or selling merchandise during library virtual programs is prohibited. Please show respect for our presenter and one another throughout the program. And finally, Zoom provides live captioning. The option is available in the Zoom toolbar. To Be a Citizen Science. This is a series of 3 programs, each focusing on a different citizen science opportunity. This week, we are going to talk about eBird. Before we get started, though, let's take a minute to look at what citizen science is. Citizen science is a collaboration between scientists and people who are curious or concerned about the world around them, and they are motivated to make a difference. Anyone can participate, and the data collected by citizen scientists help professional scientists come to very real-life conclusions. This particular picture is from the National Park Service. These people are doing a mountain goat survey. We will not be doing a mountain goat survey today. We are going to be talking about birds. eBird is one of the world's largest biodiversity-related science projects. It is managed by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, whose mission is to interpret and conserve the Earth's biological diversity through research, education, and citizen science focused on birds and nature. It is a great resource for anything about birds. So if you go to the Cornell's website, it does have a database of bird species complete with pictures, maps, and sound recordings. Now, the goal of eBird is to gather information about birds in the form of checklists of bird species, archive it, and make it freely shared to a powered, data-driven approach to science, conservation, and education. So today we are going to be talking about eBird and its features. We will briefly discuss setting up your eBird account, but the intent of this program is to introduce citizen scientists to eBirds. eBird is available in over 30 languages. And to start, and we're going to drop this link into the chat, you are going to go to ebird.org and click on the green Get Started button to create your free account. And it'll pop up and look like this. You will fill it out and click the blue Create Account button, and you've created your account. So let's talk about using eBird on the web version. Recording your birding is referred to as a checklist in eBird. Each time you use eBird while birding, you will submit a new checklist. And there are 2 ways to use eBird to record your birding. I'm going to start with the web version, which you see here, and then we're going to move on to using the app. So to begin with, you are going to record where you were birding, when and how you went birding, so the day and the time you went birding, how far you traveled, how long you were birding, and if you were stationary or traveling while you were birding. So you can do a stationary one. Say you're just sitting and watching your feeder. That would be a stationary checklist. Traveling would be if you are on a walk and recording the birds that you see. And then you would just go through and mark how many of each species you see. But you can also download the app on an iOS or Android device, which is the fastest way to enter your sightings from the field. So this is what it will look like on a Android device. There may be a little bit of difference in the visual layout of it, but they are the same app, whether you're on iPhone or Android. And the eBird app is completely free. There are no in-app purchasing options and there are no ads. So the main page, which you see on the left there, is a prompt to start your checklist. When you click Start Checklist there at the bottom, it starts recording your date, time, and location. Once the checklist appears, which is there on the right, you can begin bird watching. You'll type the species that you see at the top of the screen, and you can either add your count by clicking that plus sign next to the species name, or you can click on the species itself and enter the number. You can also add notes in the detail box. Once your bird watching is done, click Stop Track. A pop-up will appear checking to see if you really mean to stop your checklist. Once you click Yes, it'll prompt you to choose the location. The app will help you determine your location as well. A little map will pop up. And you'll just answer yes to are you submitting a complete checklist of the birds you are able to identify, and then click Submit. And this will get it submitted to Cornell. So what you see here is a bird watching walk I went on last week in Richardson. That blue line is the route I took. You can see it was just me. I bird watched for 29 minutes and I went 7.77 miles. And I believe I saw 6 or 7 species that day. So from here, let's dig a little deeper into eBird. So this is again in the website. And because you need an account to use eBird, it requires a valid email and name. Now, I have used eBird for years, and the emails they send me are minimal. So if you're concerned about being bombarded with emails every day, by using your email to set up this account, I wouldn't worry about it too much. They'll occasionally email you about things. They will be bird related, but it is not an overwhelming number of emails. But you do have privacy options, and you can adjust your privacy settings on the website's preference page. So you would just go up to the upper right-hand corner, click the little down arrow by your name, and click Preferences, and your public name display. This allows you to choose how your name is displayed publicly. You have 2 options, your first and last name, or you can be an anonymous eBirder. So if you ever are exploring eBird and you're looking at other people's checklists they've submitted, if it says anonymous eBirder, it just means they didn't want their name displayed publicly. And then data privacy. This allows you to restrict the public visibility of your data. Now, the Cornell researchers will still be able to view your data, but others will not. So if you are concerned about maybe the location you were at and you don't want just anyone to see it, you can hide your data. Right, well, with privacy out of the way, let's talk about using eBird to find more birds. And if you'll bear with me just one moment, I am going to change my screen to the eBird website. And I'm already signed in, so this is what it's going to look like. And it does have some great tools that can help you find more birds. And there's 3 ways to find birds using eBird's website. There's the species map to help you find a range of a particular species of bird, discovering birding hotspots near you, and explore counties, states, province, or countries to view the most recent sightings, first-time sightings, all-time high count, hotspots, and more. So you do need to be logged in to access these features, but once you're logged in, we're going to go up here and click Explore. And it's going to look something like this. Now, the bird pictures that they use will rotate out, so the next time you're here, it might be a different bird, but everything else will stay the same. So let's start with species maps. And you can see it's going to be right under More Ways to Explore, and we're going to click on Species Maps. And you're going to begin by entering the species of the bird you are looking for. You can use the common name for the species, so don't worry about that binomial Latin scientific name. Now, one species of bird that I have always wanted to see is a belted kingfisher. So let's use that. So we're going to put belted kingfisher into the search box. And as I type, you can see this drop down menu appeared and there's suggestions. So I don't have to worry about typing out the whole name. I can just click it and let's take a look. So the purple is where this bird has been seen. The more that bird has been seen, the darker the purple will be. The date, which is up here right next to the search box, defaults to year-round, all years. You can enter a custom date range to make the information more useful to you. And since it's October, let's go ahead and select August to November. And we'll click date range. Oh, yeah, you know what? Let's do the past 10 years. That'll probably be a little bit more helpful to us. Then we'll click set date range. Now you do need to zoom in if you want to get a better look at your surrounding area. You can enter a location, but I like to just zoom in. So let's get close to North Texas. So as you can see, the closer we get, the purple will disappear and we're going to get these bubbles. And these bubbles are hotspots. So these are locations that people have gone and they have done eBird checklist. Blue means the species that you're looking for. In this case, the belted kingfisher haven't been seen recently, but a red bubble means it's been seen in the past 30 days. So it looks like I am in luck. There are plenty of spots in the DFW area that have had a belted kingfisher recorded there. And let's click this red bubble over at Oak Point. Because remember, red means it was recent, and it's going to pop up and let me know that a belted kingfisher was seen at Oak Point Park and Nature Reserve on September 26th of this year. So if I really want to see one, that's a good spot for me to go and look. Let's take a deeper dive into hotspots. What I'm going to do is close this out, and I'm going to click on Explore just to get us back to the page. And this time, we're going to click Explore Hotspots. Now, hotspot is a public location that people regularly visit for birding. This doesn't mean that you are guaranteed great birding each visit, but because checklists are so frequently submitted there, you'll have a good idea of who to expect when you do visit. So if you know the name of the hotspot you're looking for, you can go ahead and enter it here. The date will auto default to year-round, all years. Since it is October, let's narrow it down to October. So we'll know what's going on around us. And let's do the current year. Now, because we're only 7 days into the month, we may not see a lot because there probably hasn't been a lot of time for people to record. Let's set our date range. And now let's go ahead and put in a particular place name or address, since I don't know the names of the hotspots around me, but let's put the address of Davis Library in. Maybe tomorrow at lunch, I want to go birding. So it's going to autofill. There we are. And we don't see anything right away, but we can zoom out and see if anything pops up. And sure enough, they're not very bright because it is still the beginning of the month, but right up the street is Russell Creek Park. So we can click on that. Now, because it says October current year, we're at 0 and 0. So let's see if we can find one that is more recent. Can't find a more recent one. Looks like people haven't birded much, but let's just take a look at Russell Creek Park. We're going to click View Details. And our most recent checklist here was from a few months ago. We are in peak migration season right now. So what was there in August may not still be there, but let's click on it and see what they saw. So it looks like they saw some of our regulars, woodpeckers, American crow, northern mockingbird, a cardinal, and some Eurasian collared doves, which these are not native. They are an exotic introduced species. but now I have a good idea of what to expect should I go there. Let's return to the Explore page of the eBird website. And this time, let's explore some regions. So this is a great way to find birding hotspots and species to look for if you're traveling. As you type in your destination, a drop-down menu appears. So you'll have the option again to select from the drop-down instead of typing it all out. Now let's say we are planning a trip to New York City and we have some time to go birding while we're there. So let's start entering New York City. But unfortunately, nothing comes up. So let's see what happens when I remove city. And there we go, New York, United States. Let's click there and take a look. Now this is the main page for the region of New York City. And it's going to give you an overview of eBird checklists that have been submitted there this month. This can give you an idea of who is being seen where. Now on the left, we have community targets. These are birds that have been observed around today's date in the past, but have not been recorded through eBird yet. These are birds that if you do see them, they're expected to be there. So far in New York, in the month of October, no one has seen a Connecticut warbler, but they've been seen in October in the past. Now on the right, next to that are new species, which are the most recently recorded species that have not been seen in that area before or at this time of year before. So if you're looking to expand your life list and want to see someone new, this is a great place to start. Because we know that, hey, if there was a clay-colored sparrow in New York and I haven't seen one of those, it'd be a pretty big deal if I saw it. You would know that you might see it while you're in New York. So scrolling down, it gets you to recent checklists. First, we're going to see some photos people have entered, see some wrens and ovenbird. And then here are some recent checklists. So today at 4:43, someone saw 20 species in Central Park at the Ramble. And because this is New York City, you might think Central Park is where the birds are. And you're not wrong. This is absolutely the case. We're seeing Central Park on this list a lot. But there are other places in New York City that you can see birds. Go back up, speaking of hotspots, and on the left-hand side, we're going to click on hotspots. And this is going to give us a list of all the hotspots in New York City, and they are arranged by the number of species seen there. So again, Central Park, top two of the checklist leaders. Central Park as a whole has seen close to 39,000 birds through eBird. Now, the Ramble is a great part of Central Park to look for birds. If you're familiar with the ornithologist Roger Torrey Peterson, he has said that the Ramble is his favorite place to birdwatch in New York. So now you can use these hotspots to locate where you want to go birding. So let's say I want to go to the Ramble. Going to take a moment to get us there. But I can see that just today, a laughing gull and a merlin was seen in the Ramble. And yesterday, there was a green heron, a white-crowned sparrow, and a ring-billed gull. So this can really help you be prepared to know what to expect, what to look for, and that way you're not just kind of wandering aimlessly through the Ramble. Now, before we go on, let's look at a smaller location in a different setting because New York is pretty big, has a lot of parks. So let's go and get back to this page. And if I were to go visit my aunt out in Haskell County, close to West Texas, what birding opportunities might I have there? So let's type in Haskell. And county is never going to pop up in the region. So it kind of looks like it's a city in Texas, this is Haskell, Texas, but it is referring to the county. Let's click and take a look. It looks like there are fewer birders in Haskell, so the results we get are smaller. but it looks like I have a pretty good chance of seeing some birds, and now I know where to look. And exploring regions is not limited to the United States. eBird is a global effort. So we'll go back to explore. Let's say I was visiting my aunt and uncle, and they are in Chernobyl, Ukraine. So let's click. And a lot of birds I haven't seen before because I haven't been to Ukraine, but I have a pretty good chance of seeing some magpies, a jackdaw, and the ever-present rock pigeon, which we have those here as well. So let's go up and we're going to click on My eBird, and this records your stats. So if you've been using eBird for a while, this is where you can view what you've done in the past. So we're going to take a look at my eBird account. Now, along the top up here, you can see the total number of species I've seen since I began using eBird in 2021, how many checklists I have completed, as well as any pictures and audio that I've uploaded. So I haven't uploaded any audio before, but I have uploaded 13 pictures. Over here, we see eBirding over time, which displays graphs for how many species you have seen in the current year and the previous 2 years. I did not start eBirding in earnest until mid-2022, so it looks a little low in my previous years. And below that is a snapshot that compares the current month to this month of the past 2 years. And you can see by October 7th of 2023, I'd only recorded 4 species, but as of today of this year, I have seen 16. It will also display, if we want to look down here, your life count compared to the current year by country and region. I don't get out much, so my counts are limited to the United States. Now, the right of the screen displays your most recent checklist as well as media that you've uploaded. So you can see here, my most recent media that I uploaded was of a yellow-breasted chat. And then I eBirded, if that's a good word for it, at lunch today at Carpenter Park. I saw some crows and some killdeer. Now, on the left side of the screen, there is a menu that includes managing alerts. On it will take you to a page where you can set up alerts. So manage my alerts right here. Let's click on that. And you have the option to set up rare bird alerts. You enter a county, and that will cause notifications of rare bird sightings to be sent to you in an email. So this is a great way to expand your life list. I currently get rare bird emails for Collin County. You can see it up there. My alerts, rare birds, Collin, daily. You won't get an email every single day. You're only going to get emails when a rare bird is spotted. And a rare bird would be one that is not known to either pass through our region regularly through migration or that lives here. This summer, there were some fish crows, which typically don't stray this far into North Texas. They were hanging out at the Herd Museum up in McKinney. So I got several emails letting me know there were fish crows. And below that is needs alerts. If you want to receive notifications for species you haven't recorded in a particular region, you can select that here. So this could be if you were wanting to do a big year, let's say for Collin County. Your goal for 2024 is to see every bird that calls Collin County home. You can put in needs alert Collin County, and it'll alert you every time a bird you haven't recorded is sighted. Let's say you do not have a killdeer yet. You get a notification that there were 3 killdeer at Carpenter Park today. You can go, let's say you see them, you'd record them, going forward, you will not receive an alert about killdeer. All right, so let's switch back to our slides. I'm gonna speed through these because I didn't show you the slides for this. We did them in real time. But let's talk about what happens if you're wrong, because birds are tricky. They are not going to sit still and pose for you to get a good picture of them, and some of them look a lot alike. So bird identification can be tricky. It can be difficult to tell similar species apart. For species that look similar, say the downy woodpecker and the hairy woodpecker, they're incredibly similar and their ranges overlap. If you are not sure if what you are looking at is a downy or a hairy, there is an option to select downy woodpecker / hairy woodpecker. So that way you aren't having to make that judgment call of what species it is. I also always struggle to differentiate between lesser scout and the ring-necked duck, which are both common species at the pond behind Davis in the winter. So that's one of my biggest challenges when eBirding. Now, unusual observations can and do happen, but reliable, accurate data is essential to the eBird database. So if you record an infrequent species, which you can see a surf scooter, it has that half filled in orange circle. That means it's an infrequent species for our area. That doesn't mean it's not going to be here, but it could. It could be rare or an out of season species, which is the red dot, the white-winged scooter. So we may see it during peak migration times, but it's not going to hang around in summer. So if you record either type of species, it could get flagged by eBird's automated filtering process. And this means you're going to get a needs details message on your checklist. This just means that your observation needs more documentation than usual. So anytime you have a unique bird observation, try and get a picture that you can upload. The app is going to continue to run in the background of your phone, so you can use your phone's camera to take a picture, and try to remember to take notes if you come across something unusual. There is a notes box where you can take notes directly in the app if you want. You can record what the sounds the bird made sound like, or its behavior, or particular colorings of its feathers. Something that just would make someone reviewing it go, okay, yes, that's exactly what they saw. Now, flagged observations are reviewed by volunteer eBird reviewers. They're going to look over your documentation to make a final decision on the accuracy of your observations. And if they need more information, they'll reach out to you using the email in your account. This can feel like you're in trouble, but you absolutely are not. These eBird reviewers are people who love birds. And so when I first got into birding, I was confused by the red-bellied woodpecker, which also happens to have a red head, and the red-headed woodpecker, which has a head that is much redder than the red-bellied woodpecker. Red-bellied woodpeckers are common to our area. Red-headed woodpeckers are not. So when I mistakenly added a red-headed woodpecker, which I did not get a picture of, to a checklist, an eBird reviewer reached out. Another time, I reported that I had seen a greater scout, when in reality, I'd seen a lesser. This time, I relied on what a bird identification app had told me. When I shared this with the eBird reviewer who had reached out to me, he walked me through the difference of the two birds. So if you ever get contacted by an eBird reviewer, don't feel bad. They really are here to help. We're helping birds through these checklists, and they're here to help us.
Laura, the screen
Yes.
seems to just stops at the My Alert site.
I'm sorry?
The screen, I'm seeing that My Alert site and never moved.
Let's see. Did it do it now?
Yes, now it's doing.
Thank you. Sorry about that. So here are the downy and hairy woodpeckers that look very similar. And then the little icons next to birds. The half orange is an infrequent species, while the red circle is an out of season. There's also an app that can help you out. Field guides are a big help, but they are an individual preference. It's best to explore different books to see which one works best for your needs. One of my favorite field guides is one that we own, and it is the Birds of Texas Field Guide by Stan Teklia. And you can see it there. I think we own more than one copy. Yes, 4. So this one's great. It is color arranged by color. So if you see a blue colored bird, you can flip to the pages with a blue corner and narrow your search down to only those birds that have blue feathers. But during migration season, you might see unfamiliar visitors from other parts of the country or even other countries. North Texas is in the Central Flyway. A lot of birds use us in their migration north or south, depending on the year, especially this time of year if there's a lot of storms in the Gulf or the eastern seaboard. They may choose to migrate through the center of the country, right over our heads, as compared to the East Coast. So you might start seeing some birds that aren't familiar. For this reason, it's a good idea to have a field guide to North American birds as well. One example of the birds that come here in winter, the white-crowned sparrows, they breed in the Arctic Circle up in Canada. But for winter, they hang out here with us in North Texas. So they're little bitty sparrows that fly a long way and they spend winter with us. And you can use the library's catalog to find different bird guides to explore and see which ones you like best. And you can also use the Plano Public Library app to search our catalog. And it is always good to become familiar with the birds in your neighborhood. 15 to 20 bird species will make up 99% of your neighborhood bird sightings. So consider these your baseline birds. The more you become familiar with these birds, the easier it will be to recognize them by sight and also by sound. And this way, when you see something unusual, you will pick up on it quickly. I was taking my dog out before bedtime one day, and I started hearing a sound that I was pretty sure was a bird. Hadn't heard it before. It was nothing I'd ever heard before. We'll talk about what I used to figure it out in a moment, but it was a common nighthawk, which was really exciting. But sometimes referring to a field guide while birding is difficult. And that's where the Merlin Bird ID app comes in. This app was created by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology to help birders answer the question, what's that bird? It is free to download and is available for both Apple and Android devices. So again, because I use an Android device, what you're seeing is what the screen will look like in an Android device. It may look a little bit different in an Apple device, but the differences will not be too big and they will work the same. So there's a few ways you can use the Merlin Bird ID app. You have the option to upload a photo of a mystery bird, which is the picture in the center and on the right. You can see I took a picture of a rather scraggly looking, what I thought was a robin. I uploaded it, and sure enough, yes, it was a robin. Sound ID, which is there on the far left, will identify birds by their songs. And this is one of my favorite features. You allow the app to run when you hear birdsong, and it will let you know who is singing. And so this is how I figured out I had a common nighthawk hanging around my neighborhood this summer. Now, birds need to be close by or very loud, like a crow or a blue jay, to be picked up on this app. An ambient noise like traffic or water flowing can make it difficult to pick up a bird's song. I often have trouble using it near the pond behind Davis Library because there's a fountain in it and it can be pretty loud. And in summer, Cicadas can make it hard for the microphone to pick up birds. Also, it can be tricked by a mockingbird. If you suddenly find you have a lot of birds you don't usually have in your yard, take a look around and see if a mockingbird is nearby. He could be the culprit. And Merlin Bird ID will maintain a live list of all the birds you have identified with it, and all your IDs will be recorded as a checklist in eBird. So they are connected. So anytime you record a sighting, either through the bird song or the photo ID, it's going to log it in eBird. It does have its limits though, so it's best to use along with the bird field guides. And you can also crowdsource an ID by uploading your pictures to the iNaturalist app. So what's next? If eBird is something that you enjoy, there are more opportunities to do citizen science with birds. So this Saturday, I believe it's October 12th, is World Migratory Bird Day. A little bit misleading because we actually have two World Migratory Bird Days, one in May, one in October, because we have the spring migration and the fall, and we are in fall migration for sure right now. And you can celebrate World Migratory Bird Day by taking time out of your day to go birding. All it takes is 10 minutes. You can, of course, do more, but eBird requests you do at minimum 10 and submit a checklist through eBird. And these days are often referred to as global big days. It's a big day where people are going to go out and look for birds. And they use it to get a baseline of what birds are where this time of year. So they're going to take all that data for October 12th and look and see that this is who we expect to see here. And they can compare that data to previous years to get a baseline of bird populations. Now, there is more citizen science from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, and Project Feeder Watch, we'll drop that link down in the chat, is a citizen science project that has you count the birds at your feeder through November to April to help scientists monitor changes in the abundance and distribution of birds. Please note, though, unlike eBird, this does require a small fee. It is $18 a year to participate because the project itself is supported almost entirely by the participants. You do receive a poster of common birds who visit feeders when you join. So you'll get a little packet in the mail with a poster, and you don't have to wait until November to sign up. So if this is something that you think you really want to do and you have your bird feeder already up and you watch birds, go ahead and sign up. They're not going to make you wait until November 1st. And I want to encourage you to explore eBird's website. There's so much you can do with it. And there are also tutorials that will go into more detail than we did today about using all the different features that we offer. And as I said at the beginning, this is the first in a 3-part series. So our upcoming programs next month, November 6th at 6 p.m. is iNaturalist, which I did reference in the previous slide. And then December 2nd, we have SciStarter and Zooniverse. And this one is a great option if going outside isn't quite your thing and you're wanting to contribute to citizen science from the comfort of the indoors. SciStarter and Zooniverse is a great option. And our upcoming one, again, November 6th, is iNaturalist. All right. If you have questions, we have time to answer them. There is my contact information. If you think of something later, send me an email or use our Ask a Librarian feature on our website. This will let you submit a question. And if you do that, just mention that you have this question because of Monday night's virtual program, and our web ref team will make sure that your question gets sent to me.
Okay, there is no question at this point in the chat.
All right. Well, again, if you think of one later, feel free to ask either through email or ask a librarian. I'm going to thank you all for coming. We appreciate you being here. Please stay up to date with Plano Public Library by following our Facebook page and checking out our website. There you can find recordings of past programs and other materials about how to take advantage of everything Plano Public Library has to offer. Please complete our program survey, which should pop up following the program. We value your feedback. Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you next time.